Hello, it's Peter Merrick, and I'm taking my evening walk. And I have a question to ask. Why is no one talking about the Netherlands, the Dutch, these farmers? They're protesting, and the nation is supporting them. Why? And why is there such a blockade with the mainstream media that they're not telling us about that average Dutch farmers are blocking highways, blocking airports with their tractors? They're dumping manure all over highways, and the people are supporting them. Now, this is crazy, and I don't want to believe that maybe there happens to be some world organizing power that basically said to all the mainstream media, don't cover it. Don't cover these protests. This is the Netherlands. These are the Dutch. The Dutch are probably the most measured people, just like the Canadians and the truckers. Now look what's happening. They are protesting. You know why they're protesting? Because their government, which is so disconnected, wants to close anywhere from 30 to 50% of their farms. They produce food. Why? Because they want to reduce nitrogen. Yes, nitrogen. You know, I'm breathing right now. You're watching. You're breathing. You know, the air that each of us breathe is 78% nitrogen. It is a gas of life. And they want to starve people, put farmers out of business, and reduce what we eat. I was reading today in the east coast of Canada, they are creating a processing plant to process bugs. Can you imagine this? I was also reading that Bill Gates owns almost a half a percent of all the farmland now in America. Does this not make sense? What's actually happening? So when you just look at it, you think that they're all isolated. In the United States, over 100 food processing plants have burnt up. They've just gone up, they've been destroyed. And people are thinking, wow, this just happens. Do you guys know the story of the dodo bird? In 1598, the Portuguese landed in Mauritius. It's an island in the Indian Ocean. And there were these really big birds. They were around 60 to 80 pounds. And what would happen was they got the name dodo bird because you could walk up to one of them, club them on the head, and the rest of them would just walk around acting like nothing had happened. Now, I'm walking around and I think most of the human beings that I meet are similar to dodo birds. Things are happening and you're not screaming, you're not saying no. Now, the Dutch, right now, they're the focal point of this planet. They're saying no to their government. Their government is so disconnected. They do not care about the voters, the people. They think of us as useless eaters, and we don't deserve to eat. And they're fighting for us because the Dutch government wants to get rid of the food supply. And guess what? The Netherlands exports food throughout Europe. So this is your fight and it's my fight. I support the farmers. And I'm going to ask a favor. Share this video. People, do your own research. Understand why the Dutch farmers are doing this protest. Think of the lunacy. Nitrogen. They want to reduce nitrogen. This is a gas of life. You know, carbon is a gas of life as well. You and I are made out of carbon. It's part of the carbon cycle. You know what they don't tell you when they actually say carbon is bad? It's a known fact when you grow vegetables in a greenhouse, you pump it with about 2,000 to 4,000 parts per million. Now, there's only 400 parts per million in the atmosphere right now. When they do that, the less water is required, and the vegetables grow much bigger and faster. They also know that when there was more carbon in the atmosphere, trees were much bigger, animals were much bigger. It is a gas of life. Nitrogen is a gas of life. You and I could not live without it. Oxygen only makes 17 to 18% of the air that we breathe, while nitrogen is in everything. It's needed for the soil, it's needed for the plants. The only thing that I can think of why they want to get rid of nitrogen and close these farms and why these plants are being destroyed, I think that you can easily go to the World Economic Forum and read papers. You can go to the Rockefeller Foundation and read papers. It's all there. I don't have to tell you. Do your own research. Do your own research. You know what I found really disturbing? There was a paper that was released in June 2020. I just read it today from the Rockefeller Foundation. And you know what it was talking about? This was June 2020. The collapse of the food processing and delivery systems. The total collapse of the food supply. You find that pretty interesting? I was telling friends right now that, I'm an investor. I'm going to start reading stuff on the World Economic Forum on who and also on the Rockefeller Foundation. And guess what? I'll be able to short the industries that they name that they will destroy. They name those industries. These people aren't our friends. Now, you think this isn't your fight? You want to know something? That's what people felt when Hitler rolled into Poland. They felt it wasn't their fight. And the next minute you knew, the whole world was in a world war. It doesn't matter that you say that this isn't your fight. It is. So you have a choice. Do you live? Do you live? Or are you going to die? Are you going to acquiesce? What legacy will you live? Over the last 2 years, people have been frightened of death. That's the reason why they've acquiesced to this tyranny. My question is this: have you lived? Have you lived? I want everybody to think about this. Why are we not seeing in the mainstream media the Netherlands? Why they're fighting for us? We're talking an entire country is standing up and saying no. Their politicians do not represent them. Their politicians do not represent them. Do your politicians represent you? I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, I'm not liberal, I'm not conservative. I'm not right wing, I'm not left wing, because they're part of the same dirty bird. I'm pissed. I'm speaking. I'm putting myself out there. I've lost clients. I have people who don't want to deal with me anymore. But guess what? We don't have the time. We do not have the time. Right now, we're in July 1939. You know what that was? That was the summer before Hitler and the Nazis rolled into Poland and the Second World War started. That's where we are right now. I truly believe it. I've studied my history. You can choose to be blind or you can choose to wake up and do something. Something that future generations will be proud that you were here And you want to know something? The alternative is there are not going to be future generations. That's just going to be a fact because this agenda, it goes against everything that's human. Human. I believe in democracy. I believe in capitalism, not crony capitalism where the government chooses who gets what, where you provide a service, you work hard, and you are able to achieve a good life. But that requires taking ownership of your life, being a good citizen, meaning that not only are you looking out for your interest, you also know that the good of the society also improves your life. I'm pissed, but that's okay. I won't be silenced. And I hope you will also raise your voice as one.